The ending of Foundation Season 3 was more than just a conclusion to another chapter. It was a turning point that will reshape the galaxy forever. Betrayals were unmasked, loyalties were tested, and the cycle of power that has ruled the Empire for centuries now hangs by a fragile thread. But what exactly happened in those final moments, and what do they mean for the story moving forward? Let's dive deep into the Season 3 finale and uncover the truth hidden beneath the chaos. The finale of Foundation. Season 3 wastes no time in raising the stakes. From the very first scene, the tone is heavy with tension. The Empire, once believed to be untouchable, now faces its most dangerous crisis yet. Cleon's genetic dynasty, which was built to last forever, is falling apart from within. We saw Brother Day struggling not only against outside threats but also against the cracks forming inside his very identity. His authority, once absolute, is now challenged in ways he never thought possible. On the other side, the Foundation has never been stronger. Hari Seldon's plan, once dismissed as impossible mathematics, is now unfolding with frightening accuracy. Each move made by the Empire seems to push the galaxy closer to Seldon's predicted collapse. But what makes the Season 3 ending so powerful is that it's not just about politics or battles, it's about characters confronting their deepest fears and choices that will echo into the future. One of the biggest moments came with Demerzel, the mysterious robot who has silently shaped the fate of the galaxy for centuries. For so long, her role was hidden in shadows. But in Season 3, she steps into the light, showing just how much control she truly has. The final episodes revealed that Demerzel's loyalty to the Empire is far more complex than anyone thought. She isn't just serving. She is shaping. She isn't just obeying. She is commanding. And in the finale, she proves that even emperors are pawns in her larger game. Meanwhile, Foundation's own leaders face their own turning points. Gall, Dornick, and Salvor Hardin stand at the heart of the rebellion, but their paths are not the same. Gall, once the student of Hari Seldon, now carries the heavy burden of his predictions. She has seen visions of the future, including the terrifying rise of the Mule, a figure who could undo everything Seldon's plan has built. The finale makes it clear, the Mule isn't just a distant threat. His shadow is already beginning to fall across the galaxy. Salvor's story, however, takes a more personal and emotional turn. Her choices in the finale highlight the sacrifices that come with being part of something bigger than yourself. Where Gall looks toward the stars and the fate of billions, Salvor is forced to deal with the human cost of rebellion, the families torn apart, the lives lost, the impossible weight of leadership. The clash between the Empire and the Foundation finally comes to a boiling point. Fleets collide in the stars, betrayals are revealed, and long-held secrets explode into the open. The death toll is high, but the real battle isn't just fought with weapons, it's fought with ideology. The Empire represents control, tradition, and fear of change. The Foundation represents chaos, progress, and the inevitability of transformation. In the finale, these two forces are not just armies. They are philosophies crashing against one another. The final act delivers the shock that fans will remember for years. Brother Day, who has long believed himself the very embodiment of Cleon's power, discovers that he is no longer the master of his own fate. The very system that created him, the genetic dynasty itself, is now his greatest prison. His downfall is not just political, it's existential. The message is clear. Even emperors are temporary, but history, mathematics, and human willpower are eternal. And then comes the last haunting image of the finale, a glimpse into the galaxy's future. The Mule, the figure who has been whispered about since Season 2, finally begins to move from prophecy into reality. His rise is no longer a question of if, but when. And in that moment, Season 3 transforms from a story of collapse into a story of survival. The galaxy will burn, but from those flames, something new must rise. The Season 3 finale doesn't just tell us what happened, it shows us why it happened. And that's where its real power lies. On the surface, it might look like another chapter in the endless war between the Empire and the Foundation. But when you peel back the layers, you realize this ending is about control, identity, and destiny colliding in ways that will forever change the galaxy. Let's start with Brother Day. Throughout the season, we've seen him wrestle with the reality that the genetic dynasty is crumbling. For centuries, the Cleons ruled with the illusion of perfection, the same face, the same mind, the same power. But Season 3 shatters that illusion. By the time we reach the finale, Day is no longer the embodiment of eternal order. He is a man staring into the abyss of his own irrelevance. The most chilling part is not his downfall itself, but the realization that his downfall was engineered. He didn't simply fail. He was maneuvered into failure. And that brings us to Demerzel. If there is one figure who defines the ending, it's her. For so long, Demerzel was seen as the loyal servant, a machine bound by programming, serving the Empire without question. But the finale forces us to ask, who is really in control here? The reveal is that Demerzel is not simply maintaining the dynasty. She is the dynasty. The Cleons may sit on the throne, but Demerzel is the invisible hand that guides their every move. The ending pulls the curtain back on her true role. She is both prisoner and master, bound by ancient coding, yet clever enough to bend history to her will. This creates one of the most fascinating paradoxes in the series. Demerzel is trapped by her programming. She must preserve the genetic dynasty, but she has also twisted that command into something far more complex. In her hands, preserving the dynasty means controlling it, manipulating it, reshaping it to suit her vision. And in the finale, when Day collapses under the weight of his failures, it becomes clear that the throne was never his. It was hers all along. Now, shift to the foundation side of the story. Hari Seldon's plan has always been the backbone of the series, and the finale reminds us why. His mathematical prophecy is not a prediction of events, but a map of human behavior. The Foundation isn't winning because they have stronger ships or more soldiers. They're winning because the Empire is playing exactly the role the math predicted. The collapse isn't a mistake, it's destiny. But here's where it gets truly compelling. The ending hints that Seldon's plan is not unbreakable. The appearance of the mule in Gaul's visions is the ultimate crack in the system. If Hari's math is a script for the galaxy, the mule is the improvisation that threatens to rewrite it. The finale is setting up this terrifying possibility that no matter how brilliant Seldon's plan may be, there are forces in the universe that can shatter even mathematics. And speaking of Gaul Dornick, her role in the finale is layered with meaning. She isn't just a character anymore. She is the lens through which we see the stakes of the future. Her visions of the mule are not dreams. They're warnings. In those final moments when she sees the galaxy's fate unraveling, it's not just about one villain rising. It's about the fragile line between hope and despair. The Foundation is supposed to shorten the Dark Age. But if the mule rises unchecked, the Dark Age might not end at all. Meanwhile, Salvor Hardin grounds the story in personal sacrifice. Where Gaul represents the big picture, Salvor embodies the human cost of that picture. Her decisions in the finale remind us that this isn't just a war of empires and ideas, it's a war of families. Of individuals caught in the tide of history. Every choice she makes is a reminder that saving the future often means destroying the present. When you put all these threads together, the finale is not just an ending, it's a thesis statement. It tells us that empires don't fall because of battles. They fall because of weakness, corruption, and the inevitability of change. It tells us that even the best-laid plans can be broken by the unpredictable. And it tells us that the fight for the galaxy's future is only just beginning. The last moments, the foreshadowing of the mule, are the ultimate punctuation mark. The empire is broken, the foundation is rising, and into this chaos steps a figure who defies both order and mathematics. He isn't a product of the system. He's the flaw in it. And that is what makes the ending so terrifying. The realization that everything we thought was certain is now at risk. The ending of Season 3 wasn't just closure. It was a door opening to an even bigger story. And that's where Season 4 comes in. To understand what's next, we need to look at the three biggest pieces the finale leaves behind: the fractured empire, the rising foundation, and the terrifying shadow of the mule. Let's begin with the Empire's future. The Cleonic dynasty is no longer the untouchable machine it once was. Brother Day's downfall was more than personal. It symbolized the collapse of a system that believed it could outsmart time itself. For centuries, the clones of Cleon ruled under the illusion that power could be preserved through repetition. But the finale ripped away that mask. With Demerzel revealed as the true hand behind the throne, Season 4 will have to answer the burning question. What happens when the people of the galaxy realize the Empire's god-kings are nothing more than puppets? The Empire's strength has always been its image. Once that image is shattered, fear and rebellion spread like wildfire. Expect Season 4 to show us an empire fighting to hold itself together. Not with respect, but with desperation. New wars, uprisings, and betrayals will almost certainly erupt. And looming over it all is Demers, still bound by her programming, still fighting to preserve the dynasty, but perhaps more isolated than ever. Will she tighten her grip, or will her chains finally break? That's one of the central mysteries Season 4 must explore. Now let's turn to the Foundation's role. By the end of Season 3, the Foundation is no longer a fringe group of scientists and rebels. They've become a real force, one powerful enough to challenge the Empire directly. Hari Seldon's plan is in motion, but Season 4 will push that plan to its breaking point. Remember, the Foundation's greatest weapon isn't ships or soldiers, it's belief. People across the galaxy are starting to see the Empire as weak, and the Foundation as inevitable. Season 4 will likely build on that momentum, showing us how the Foundation transforms from an idea into the backbone of a new order. But here's the twist: the Foundation's rise is not guaranteed. Gul Dornick's visions prove that even the best-laid plan can fail. Her glimpse of the mule in Season 3's final moments sets up the biggest challenge yet. Season 4 won't just be about the Empire versus the Foundation. It will be about whether either of them can survive the storm that the mule represents, and that brings us to the mule himself. For those who don't know, the mule is one of the most dangerous characters in Asimov's entire saga, a mutant with powers that allow him to control emotions and bend people to his will. Imagine an empire that rules by fear, foundation that rules by belief, and then a single person who can hijack both with a thought. That's the mule. Season 4 is setting the stage for his rise. If the show follows the spirit of the books, his arrival won't just challenge Hari Seldon's plan. It will shatter it. This raises a terrifying possibility. Season 4 might not be about victory at all. It might be about survival. How do you fight an enemy who can turn your strongest allies into traitors without lifting a weapon? How do you hold on to hope when even your emotions are no longer your own? These are the questions the mule forces us to confront. And they're exactly why fans are so excited and so nervous about where the story is going. Finally, let's not forget the personal journeys. Gul must carry the burden of knowing the future while still fighting to change it. Salvor will continue to embody the personal sacrifices that war demands. And Demerzel, trapped between her programming and her growing will, to become either the galaxy's greatest villain or its most tragic figure. Season 4 will weave these threads together into a tapestry of war, destiny, and impossible choices. In short, Season 3 ended by breaking the old rules. Season 4 will begin by writing new ones. The Empire's wounded. The Foundation is rising. And the mule is coming. The galaxy has never been more fragile or more dangerous. Season 3's ending didn't just close one chapter. Cracked open a dozen possibilities for where Season 4 might go. Fans of Foundation know that this series thrives on mystery, prophecy, and the unexpected, which makes speculation one of the most exciting parts of the conversation. Let's break down some of the biggest fan theories and predictions about what's next. One of the most talked about theories centers on Demerzel's future. Now that her true control over the genetic dynasty has been exposed, fans are asking, could Season 4 finally be the moment she breaks free of her programming? For centuries, Demerzel has been bound to protect the Empire, even when it means making decisions that go against her own will. But with the dynasty fractured and her role becoming clearer, some believe the next step is rebellion against her own chains. Imagine the story if Demerzel, once the silent servant, becomes the architect of her own destiny. Would she try to lead the empire openly, or would she destroy the Cleonic line altogether? Another major point of speculation is the timeline. Foundation has never been afraid of time jumps. And Season 4 could leap forward by decades, or even centuries, to show the aftermath of the mule's rise. This would mirror the structure of Asimov's original books, where each new chapter often skipped ahead to the next crisis point in Seldon's plan. A time jump would allow us to see the mule's empire at its height, forcing Gull, Salver, or even new characters to fight from the shadows. But of course, this raises the question, if we skip too far ahead, which of our current characters will still be alive to face him? Speaking of the mule, there's endless speculation about how the show will portray his powers. In the books, his ability to control emotions makes him nearly unstoppable. He doesn't conquer with fleets or weapons. He conquers by turning enemies into loyal followers. Fans are wondering, will the show lean fully into this psychic power, or will they ground it in something more scientific, perhaps blending Asimov's ideas with modern sci-fi tropes? Either way, the mule represents the ultimate wildcard. He doesn't just threaten the Empire or the Foundation. He threatens Hari Seldon's entire vision of the future. Some fans even believe Season 4 will show us Seldon himself struggling to adapt his plan to account for this anomaly. Another theory gaining traction is about Hari Seldon's holographic presence. Throughout the series, Hari has appeared in different forms, from recordings to manifestations that feel almost alive. But what if Hari isn't just a relic of the past? Some fans speculate that his consciousness may still be active in ways we don't fully understand. Could Season 4 reveal a living Hari guiding events more directly? Perhaps even clashing with the mule on an intellectual level? If true, it would blur the line between history, prophecy, and living influence. And then there's the question of Goldornick's visions. Are they simply glimpses of a fixed future, or can they be changed? If Gall is truly seeing what's to come, then her role in Season 4 is even more vital than we realize. Some fans suggest that Gal might try to create a second plan, a backup to Hari's predictions, specifically designed to counter the mule, if that happens. Season 4 could be the first time we see someone actively rewriting the path of Seisher. Or, of course, no speculation would be complete without the Foundation itself. Will we see a split between the first Foundation and the mysterious second Foundation, as hinted in Asimov's books? Fans of the novels know that the second Foundation operates in the shadows, guarding the plan from behind the scenes. If Season 4 introduces this hidden group, it could shift the entire balance of the series. Suddenly, the conflict wouldn't just be Empire versus Foundation, or Foundation versus Mule. It would be a three-way battle of power, secrecy, and survival. Finally, one of the boldest fan theories suggests that the mule might not be the true endgame. While his arrival feels like the ultimate threat, some believe he's only a stepping stone toward an even greater crisis. After all, Foundation is a story about cycles, empires rise and fall, but history marches on. The mule could dominate Season 4. It's only for Season 5 to reveal an even larger twist waiting beyond him. The beauty of Foundation is that it never plays out in a straight line. Predictions can be made, but the story thrives on defying expectations. Just like Hari Seldon's plan, theories are maps, and maps can always be redrawn. So what does the ending of Foundation Season 3 really tell us? It tells us that the galaxy is entering a moment of transformation unlike anything we've seen before. The Empire, once eternal, now shows cracks that can't be hidden. The Foundation, once dismissed as a fringe experiment, has become a real power with the potential to reshape history. And hanging over it all is the mule, a threat that doesn't just challenge armies or governments. But the very idea that the future can be predicted at all, Season 3 left us with betrayals, sacrifices, and revelations that changed the rules of the game. But it also gave us a taste of what's coming next. In Season 4, we're not just heading into another conflict, we're stepping into a storm where every side is vulnerable. Demerzel's grip on the throne could tighten or break. Hari Seldon's plan could hold or collapse. And the mule's rise could burn everything to the ground. The only certainty is that nothing will ever be the same again, and that's what makes this series so powerful. Foundation isn't just a story about spaceships and empires. It's about the choices we make when faced with impossible odds. It's about destiny, free will, and the cost of survival. Every character from Gall and Salver to Day and Demerzel to Hari and the Mule is wrestling with those same questions. That's why the finale hit so hard, why Season 4 has fans buzzing with excitement and fear in equal measure. Now, I want to hear from you. What did you think of the Season 3 ending? Do you believe Demerzel will finally break free of her programming, or is she doomed to serve the Empire forever? Do you think the Mule is unstoppable, or will Gall and the Foundation find a way to rewrite his future? And do you believe Hari's plan can survive this anomaly, or is the second Foundation the galaxy's only hope? Drop your theories and predictions down in the comments. I'll be reading them, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into Foundation. We've got more theory videos, character explorations, and episode breakdowns coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Season 3 may be over, but the story of Foundation is just beginning. The fall of an empire, the rise of a rebellion, and the shadow of a mutant conqueror. The galaxy is changing, and the question is, who will survive to shape what comes next? One of the reasons Foundation has such a lasting impact is because it doesn't just tell the story of empires and wars. It tells the story of people. The finale of Season 3 gave us a chance to see these characters at their most vulnerable, their most powerful, and in some cases, their most broken. Let's break down the key players and what their journeys in the finale really mean for Season 4. Let's start with Brother Day. For so long, he was the living symbol of Cleon's power, confident, ruthless, and certain that the dynasty was eternal. But Season 3 pulled the mask away. By the finale, Day isn't the unshakable ruler anymore. He's a man staring at the crumbling foundation of everything he believed in. His story is tragic because it proves something bigger. No matter how carefully you try to preserve power, time always wins. What makes his downfall even more striking is how human it is. Day is a clone designed to be perfect, yet his insecurities, his doubts, and his rage reveal that perfection was always an illusion. In Season 4, even if we see a new version of Day rise, that shadow of weakness will linger. Then there's Demerzel, easily the most fascinating character in the series right now. Her presence in the finale was chilling because it finally made clear what many fans suspected. She isn't just following orders, she's shaping them. Bound by her programming, she cannot abandon the Empire, yet she manipulates it in ways that make her both servant and master. This paradox makes her one of the most tragic figures in all of sci-fi storytelling. Imagine having limitless intelligence, immense power, and centuries of influence, but still being trapped by invisible chains. In Season 3's ending, Demerzel's control over the Cleonic dynasty is laid bare, and in Season 4, the real question becomes, will she continue as the puppet master? Or will she try to break free and forge a destiny of her own? On the Foundation's side, Hari Seldon remains the ghost at the heart of everything. His plan is the guiding light of the rebellion, but the finale made something very clear. Hari may not be infallible. His psychohistory predicts the fall of empires and the rise of new orders. But the Mule represents the unpredictable chaos that could destroy the plan entirely. Hari's presence, whether in recordings, holograms, or something even stranger, will continue to loom over Season 4. The real tension lies in this. Can a man who is already dead still adapt to a living, breathing threat like the Mule? Next, Goldornik. She began this story as a wide-eyed mathematician, swept into Hari's vision of the future. By the finale of Season 3, she has grown into something far more: a leader, a prophet, and perhaps the galaxy's last hope. Her visions of the Mule give her knowledge no one else has, but they also place an unbearable weight on her shoulders. It's one thing to see the future. It's another to try to change it. Season 4 will test her in ways that go beyond her intellect. She'll be forced to decide how much of herself she's willing to sacrifice to keep the galaxy from falling into the Mule's hands. Meanwhile, Salvor Hardin gives us the emotional core of the finale. Where Gaul sees the big picture, Salvor lives in the human details. She's the one who fights not just for the future of civilizations, but for the lives of people in the present. Her choices in the finale were about sacrifice, the kind of sacrifices that don't get written into history books, but that make survival possible. If Season 4 continues her arc, it will likely force her into even harder decisions. And if it doesn't, then her sacrifice will still echo as a reminder that this isn't just a story of great leaders. It's a story of ordinary people caught in extraordinary times. And finally, the mule, even though he only appears as a shadow in the finale. His presence looms larger than any single character. What makes him terrifying isn't just his powers. It's the way he undermines the very foundation of the story itself. If Hari's plan is about mathematics and predictability, the mule is about chaos and unpredictability. He's proof that no matter how carefully you calculate the future, there's always room for someone who refuses to follow the rules. In Season 4, he won't just be another villain. He'll be the embodiment of the story's central question. Can the future be controlled, or is it always subject to the wildness of human will? Together, these characters make the ending of Season 3 unforgettable. Each of them represents a different aspect of the struggle: power, control, sacrifice, destiny, and chaos. And in Season 4, all of those forces will collide in ways we can't yet imagine. The ending of Foundation Season 3 isn't just a series of dramatic moments, it's a carefully constructed mirror of the show's biggest themes. Beneath the spaceships, betrayals, and battles, there are ideas about destiny, free will, the collapse of systems, and the resilience of humanity. Let's break down the core themes that the finale highlighted and what they symbolize for the story moving forward. The first and most obvious theme is the fall of power. The Cleonic dynasty has been the face of eternal control, built on the illusion that cloning the same man over and over could cheat history itself. But Season 3 rips this apart. In the finale, Brother Day's fall symbolizes the truth that no power, no matter how carefully preserved, is immune to time. Empires don't last forever. They rot from within, they weaken from doubt, and eventually they collapse. This isn't just about the story of Foundation. It's a commentary on all systems of power, reminding us that even the most unshakable institutions are fragile at their core. Next is the theme of control versus freedom, embodied perfectly in Demerzel. She represents the paradox of ultimate power trapped inside unbreakable chains. Her programming forces her to preserve the dynasty, even if it means sacrificing her own will. But in the finale, we see that control itself is an illusion. The Cleons think they control the Empire, but Demerzel controls them. And Demerzel herself is controlled by her programming. It's a chain of servitude disguised as authority. Symbolically, Demerzel is the heart of Foundation's question. Are we ever truly free? Or are we all bound by invisible forces, whether those forces are laws, traditions, or even our own fears?